keep the yard work done.
I just know that the renter takes care of the yard, but I'm there watching him. I mean, that's the thing. He had I've only been doing this for about a year and a half.
All right, let's call to order the Waxhaw Town Board regular meeting for Tuesday, August 9th, 2016. If you'd all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, two small changes to the agenda. We're going to, based upon our work session today, add item C10 to the consent agenda, the Town of Waxhaw Main Street Advisory Board Rules of Procedure, which is in your packet and is posted online, with the deletion of Article 5, Section 1B about the ex officio member. And then we are deleting under recognition item D4, the introduction of Officer Cisco into the Waxhaw Police Department. Other than that, do we have any other changes to the agenda? Take a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, public comments. First up, Sam Lynn. You come up to the podium and just state your name and address.
My name is Sam Lynn. I'm at 8616 Sunset Hill Road in Cureton. And I just would like to make a comment about the restriction of commercial truck traffic on Sunset Hill. I don't feel that there's any need for heavy commercial trucks to be using that as what I perceive as a cut through to go from Providence Road to Kensington to avoid the light at Cureton. Just today there was a semi that came through by my house, and I see probably 4 or 5 trucks a week coming through like that. Cement mixers. There was even a heavy sewage, one of those pumper trucks from coastal Carolina that came through a couple of times. I'm not sure that that road is even engineered for that kind of traffic. I would think it's also a safety issue because that's not really a wide street and there is on-street parking there. So I'd like to see some kind of signage put up to restrict commercial traffic on there. I realize that you have to have commercial traffic through there, FedEx and UPS and trucks like that, but heavy commercial trucks, I don't think there's a need for them to use Sunset Hill Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Edwin Elam.
Good evening to Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, to the commissioners, to Manager Wood, to the town attorney, also to the city clerk, and above all, the citizens. Mr. Mayor, we'd like to thank you and go on record for you and Manager Wood hosting the town hall meeting for the east side. The items that many of the people brought up, we see them being action taken on them, and we want you to know that the east side is looking much better because of those things that we have addressed at our town hall meeting. And we'd like to thank also, along with you guys, the police department who have also addressed some of the things that we talked about at that town hall meeting. And we're really feeling a part of all of Waxhaw. And we knew that things could look better, and those things that we did bring up to your attention, they are being acted upon, and we just wanted to go on record and thank you for the attention that you've given to those things that we brought up, that the citizens brought up. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Candace DeFinis.
Hey there, Candace DeFinis, 8313 Willow Branch Drive. I just wanted to say thank you very much to Miss, oh, and my son's here too, in case you guys don't see him, Hendricks, also a resident 8313. We just wanted to say thank you very much for staff taking a look at the issues in Curitan on Sunset Hill Road and taking the effort on the consent agenda with the removal of commercial truck traffic from Sunset Hill, as well as the three-way stop that is so desperately needed at Sunset Hill and Soaring Eagle Drive. These were also items that came out of our meeting with the mayor and Mr. Wood and staff. So we appreciate you guys working with us to get those addressed. We're very much looking forward to our new stop signs and our crosswalk. I've been up here several times for months asking for these safety measures, so I'm happy that we were able to work something out on behalf of the residents and especially all of our families that cross over to get to our amenity center. And we see this as a really great stepping stone to reduce the amount of traffic that is coming through Sunset Hill Road. I also just wanted to make a comment, go on the record regarding Carrington Square, because I haven't done so. And that's unlike me, as you guys know. And just say that, yes, sweetheart, okay. And just say that while we understand as a community and a neighborhood that we cannot prevent that from happening because it was already zoned appropriately, and they have the develop by right to develop what they're looking for, that, we are really hoping to be able to understand what those impacts are going to mean, especially to our residents that utilize the light, and what those challenges are going to be for us, and hope to be able to continue to partner with the town if there's anything or any outcomes that come out of that development, that we would be able to take those corrective measures to continue to protect our residents in Curitan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Colton. Okay, next up, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
All right.
On to recognition. Mr. Wood?
Okay, Mayor Maher, members of the board, Mr. Spencer. Tonight we've got three recognitions, two for longtime employees, one for a new employee, and I'd like to start with Wendy Davenport. She has been an employee of the town of Waxhaw for the past 10 years. I told her I wouldn't make her come up here and say anything, so I'm going to let her off the hook on that, but we did want to recognize Wendy for her 10 years of service. She does a great job of keeping me between the ditches when it comes to personnel-related issues, and thank you for all you do for Waxhaw. We'll give her a round. All right, next, Chief Ice. Chief Ice has actually been an employee of the town for 14 years and 10 as police chief. I'm not going to let him off the hook as far as saying a few words, so I'd like for the chief to come up and say a few words to the audience here.
Boy, what a long 10 years it's been. When I first took that position 10 years ago, shortly after, I thought, what have I done? But through the years, we've made some great improvements in the department, both in the hiring process and in the policies and procedures and the caliber of officers that we have here. And in a day and time where there's a lot of municipalities across the country that are at odds with their police departments, we don't have that here. And I can tell you, I come to work every day proud that I'm the chief of police in this town, both with the support that I get from you all and the unbelievable support that I get from the citizens. Since this has all been taking place over the last year or so, it's very rarely a day doesn't go by where somebody's bringing in a card thanking us or bringing in homemade cookies or stuff for the guys. And there's just a really genuine concern for us and support for us, and it's really heartwarming, and it makes me glad that I'm the chief of police here. So thank you very much for what you do for us.
Thank you, Chief. And they do an outstanding job, and the caliber of folks that we have, and the Chief's hired on staff is tremendous. So thank you, Chief. And next, Lisa McCarter come up to introduce one of your new employees.
Yes, I'm so lucky to have Nish on the planning division now. Nish comes to us from Augusta, Georgia, and he has his bachelor's in architecture and philosophy, which is going to be great as we're drafting the new UDO. He's got his master in city and regional planning. He's got about 18 years of architecture and planning experience and 10 years of experience teaching martial arts.
Just stand up in the back there. Thank you. So if you don't agree with one of his zoning recommendations,
Yeah, watch
he's a
out.
yeah.
Look out. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Next up, reports. We'll start to my right. Commissioner Warner?
I have nothing this evening.
Commissioner Stewart? Commissioner Fitzgerald?
Nothing this evening. Just a quick note on the consent agenda tonight. There was an agreement approved for training for the planning board. Commissioner Warner, Warren Wood, and I have been really working hard to get a firm. They have agreed. They're signed up now, and look forward to a lot of big improvements with the planning board over the next 5 to 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Hunt?
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay. I have a few comments. First of all, thank you to Chief Ice and the entire staff for a job well done on National Night Out. I especially appreciate the opportunity to ride in an open truck in the middle of a rainstorm and just get drenched. That was just so nice of you. But it was well received. I'm still getting lots of good comments from our neighborhood and from neighborhoods in the surrounding area. Also want to say, I'm not going to mention all the names, but at the end of July, roughly 25 people rolled off of different committees. We'll put a notice out on our webpage tomorrow, the next day, thanking everyone. I just want to thank all of those volunteers that commit their time to the various boards and committees and volunteer activities that we have. We couldn't do it without your service, and to those 25, thank you. And I'm sure we'll see them again soon as more opportunities arise. Just very briefly this morning, on behalf of Commissioner Fitzgerald, he asked if I would sit down with the Farmers Market Group and understand more of their specific needs as we evaluate what we're doing with the entire downtown Main Street program. I will make a copy of what they provided me and give it to each of the commissioners, along with the economic development study that was done by the School of Government that shows the relative value of farmers market for towns. October 23rd to 25th is the annual League of Municipalities meeting in Raleigh. Several of the board members are going, and if we have consensus of the board, I'd like to ask Warren to have staff take a look at specifically the meeting on the 25th and just kind of gauge whether or not we have we can push things to the 11th. It's going to be a tight fit getting back on the 25th for those that are going. We'll do it, but if we can adjust the schedule a little bit and overload the 11th, that would be great, and just come back so we can remove it from the agenda if we have to. Last but not least, you heard about the community meetings. We have 2 more now scheduled for next week. On Tuesday, August 16th, we'll be over at Quellen, and on Thursday, August 18th, we will be at Anklin Forest. The Quellen event starts, or the Quellen Town Hall starts at 7. The Anklin Forest, I couldn't quite get this one. They said they're going to do a warm-up act, and we're not due till 6:30, so I don't know what we're getting set up there with their Fred. They're having a little bit of fun. They were going to do a comedy routine, et cetera, but will be there. That one's going to be informal because we're going to be doing it outside in the cabana, but those are the next two coming forward. So with that, Manager Wood.
Mayor Maher, members of the board, Mr. Spencer. Tonight I want to do a quarterly finance report. We've obviously completed the previous fiscal year. Although the numbers are unaudited, your audit firm will be coming in and looking at the numbers. There may be some tweaks to some of what I'm going to present tonight, but the bulk of what you'll see is accurate. So we've completed 100% of the previous fiscal year. Again, these are unaudited numbers, but let's see how we ended. So when you exclude the fund balance that was appropriated through the year and just look at our revenues, we received 103% of our budgeted revenue. So we exceeded on the revenue side by 3% what we had budgeted. So that's a good thing. That points to the degree that Waxhaw is growing, and that's a great position to be in. Just in a little more specifically, in terms of the budgeted property tax revenue, we received 101%, so over our budget number on the revenue side for property tax, and 102% of what we had budgeted for sales tax. So again, fairly conservative budget numbers, exceeding those with our actuals, and so that's a good position to be in on the revenue side, ending the fiscal year. On the expenditure side, we expended 92% of our budget expenditures. Most of the lapse in terms of the savings on the expenditure side related to vacancies in the salaries that are unexpended, so lapsed salaries produced coming in under budget on the expenditure side in the general fund. So again, a good position to be in. Then finally, when you look at our revenues over or under expenditures, we ended the year with $1.2 million more in revenue than we had in expenditures. So again, some of these numbers will change when the auditors take a look, but the essence will stay the same, and they also have to look at the impact that appropriated fund balance has on our bottom line. So looking at appropriated fund balance, this is something that I know the board and staff are always focused on. In essence, fund balance is your savings, what you have in the bank. So let's look at, and it serves as a savings, but also a place to go for major capital projects or unexpected expenditures. So it gives you a cushion and an option when you have unexpected expenditures or capital expenditures come up during the course of the year that you didn't anticipate. So from last fiscal year, the board this is for FY 15-16, the board dipped into its savings by $1.3 million to purchase the land related to the Waxhaw YMCA partnership. That land's been purchased. Union County donated an additional 3.5 acres to our 13 acres, so we have over a 16-acre tract of land over there, but that partnership is moving forward. In addition to that, to start the year with the FY 16 annual budget, the board appropriated $350,000 in fund balance for field development related to the YMCA Waxhaw partnership. And that was the first year of that, and that was the board directed the manager to include for the next 3 years, $350,000 a year to set aside for field development. So we'll talk about year 2 related to that. During the course of the fiscal year, the board appropriated some of its fund balance for various projects. We purchased the leaf composting facility for $340,000. That came out of fund balance. Studio Cascade, we originally had $100,000 budgeted for their work. Their initial contract came in over that, and then in addition to that, we also contracted them to finalize the work on the comprehensive plan. So there was some extra work there with Studio Cascade, and again, fund balance was the source to fund those expenses. And then finally, $54,000 to finalize the repair work or the improvements to the Duncan McDonald House. So those were the 3 significant appropriations during the course of the fiscal year the board made out of fund balance, and those were the items they appropriated that money for. Coming into the current fiscal year, FY 16-17, we only appropriated $350,000 for the second year to set aside money for field development related to the YMCA Waxhaw partnership. So that's just a history over the last year or so on what the board has utilized its fund balance for. And again, the auditors will come in and look at all this and make sure everything's in line with where it should be, but that's the last year or so of fund balance appropriation. Any questions so far? Looking at some visuals, this is your real property tax revenue July through June. So this is July through June of the last 3 fiscal years. And you can see Waxhaw's been in a tremendous position property tax growth-wise. This is from a revenue perspective. You can see the growth, between FY 13-14 and 14-15, almost a $500,000 growth in property tax revenue. Not so much this past year, but still strong. So the trend is upward in terms of property tax revenue growth in Waxhaw over the last 3 years. Sales tax revenue, not as drastic a picture, but still positive. Going back to FY 13-14, between 13-14 and 14-15, about 200,000 in growth, and about another 100,000 or just less than that over the past between FY 14 and FY 15-16. So strong growth in sales tax revenue. Obviously, your property tax revenue is your strongest. Sales tax revenue is your second largest source of revenue for the general fund. Building permit values. Going back to FY 13-14, this was tremendous. $155 million permitted in new construction in Waxhaw. Dropped off in FY 14-15. The story there is a lot of developers ran out of lots to develop. That's ramped back up again over the course of the past year. We didn't do the same growth we did in FY 13-14, but still in FY 15-16, strong building permit values, $147 million in values permitted. You do the math on most of that growth, or most of the building permitting numbers relate back to single-family homes. So when you do the math on the average value of a home built in Waxhaw, you can see over the last 3 years, 400,000, almost 410,000, 420,000 average value. So very strong values in terms of home values being constructed in Waxhaw. And this, just as we haven't had a whole lot of conversations about this side of it, but housing affordability in Waxhaw, I mean, obviously this is nowhere near affordable housing that's being built in Waxhaw, but I think that's something that needs to get on our radar screen. I know we've talked about the multifamily side of things as well as some other possibilities, but I think moving forward we're going to have to start having some conversations about housing affordability, particularly just as an example as it relates to millennials and their ability to afford to live in Waxhaw. And that concludes the monthly or the quarterly finance report. Any questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to resume the public hearing on the Brown Group rezoning petition CD 00433-2016.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Just for point of awareness and reference, because this is the third iteration of a public hearing, we're having the hearing for a request for conditional zoning, and have the applicants made a request to move from CU-C3 and wish to make a conditional zoning district. It's legislative in nature. It's not quasi-judicial. The original permit, the reason for it is the original permit has long since passed and expired. It included an office and a drive-through for a bank. This request includes a drive-through for fast food, office, daycare, and a grocery. At this point, the conditions placed on this application, the outcome of our traffic impact analysis ordinance, our traffic impact analysis study, which is required by ordinance. Being discussed today is the condition of consistency, consistent architectural to match our zoning. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Max Oliver.
Thank you. And as Mayor Mahar said, this is a conditional rezoning request from CU-C3, which is conditional use general commercial, to CD-C3, conditional district general commercial. For proposed commercial development is proposed for the site, which includes a grocery store, daycare, a general office or retail building, and a fast food restaurant. That was that slide. This is the site at the corner of Sunset Hill and Highway 16. To the north is a vacant wooden parcel zoned R40 in Union County's jurisdiction. To the east is the same parcel zoned R40 in Union County's jurisdiction. To the south is the Shops at Howard's Mill development. The property is zoned CUC3, and it contains a Lowe's Home Improvement, a Walmart Neighborhood Market, and McDonald's, among other things. And to the west is a undeveloped wooded portion of the CHS property, and a vacant formerly commercial property, as well as and both of those are zoned CUC3, and a single family home zoned R1. An update since over the last couple meetings. At the Tuesday, July 12th Board of Commissioners meeting, the board asked for updated architectural elevations for each of the proposed buildings, and to have a consistent design throughout. Updated elevations were submitted to the UDO and branding consultants for comments. Updated elevations were then submitted to the Board of Commissioners for review prior to the meeting. At the July 26th Board of Commissioners meeting, the board asked for the elevations to be updated for the daycare, grocery store, and retail building. Staff worked with the project architect to improve the design of each of the buildings. Initially, there were concerns about the proposed fast food use, but that is, I believe, since has been resolved, and the architectural updates have been focused on the other buildings. For the site, a traffic impact analysis, or TIA, was required by town ordinance and was performed by Kimley Horn. As a condition of the NCDOT driveway permit, slight modifications may be made to the recommended turn lane improvements. All traffic improvements will meet the conditions of the approved TIA. With approval of the town of Waxhaw, the petitioner may elect to make a payment in lieu of specific off-site roadway improvements, specifically on Kensington Drive. And access to the site is provided via an unsignalized right-in, right-out on Providence Road, and a full movement unsignalized intersection on Sunset Hill. And there is a signal at the intersection of Sunset Hill and Highway 16. And connectivity to the site is proposed via the north property line. These are the updated Bojangles elevations that I believe the board was happy with in the last meeting, or had fewer comments about. This is the retail building that has since been updated with differing bricks, and the awnings have also been updated. This is the Aldi, proposed Aldi. There's been windows added to this elevation, as well as, it's difficult to see, but some banding with the brick and some other architectural elements added. And this is the updated daycare, which retains the pitched roof, but it added some awnings, and the dormers have been changed to match the design of the entrance. The architect is here to answer any questions regarding that, and also Matt Hubert and Brady Finkley with Kimley Horn are here to answer any questions that have to do with traffic, TIA.
And just a point of awareness, we have nobody signed up to speak on the public hearing. So with that, we can, if the applicant wants to come up, we want to ask questions, we can do so. I do have a question for you, just point of clarification. Did you say all the TIA conditions that were placed by the TIA are applied to this, with the exception that if any DOT recommended change to the driveway? Is it, did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, there's a note on the plans that states that slight modifications can be made. As a condition of NCDOT driveway permit approval, slight modifications may be made to the recommended turn lane improvements,
Okay.
and that may have to do, Matt or Brady could get into it more, but they may have to do with just lining up the driveway, turning radius, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Just one question for Max. Max, Bob Bengford of Studio Cascade had a couple of comments that he emailed after this last iteration. Have they been addressed at all with the developers?
Much of his comments have been addressed. There was one regarding
Signage.
the signage is permitted separately, and as it stands in these elevations, and it's noted on the plans that it's permitted separately as well, but there's already more than the allowed signage according to the UDO.
We're working on a new UDO.
Yes. So,
Okay.
well, yeah, in that
So
case.
is Bob Bengford, so.
So they seem in favor of different types of signage, but under current regulations, it wouldn't necessarily conform. And he did have one comment about the entryway glass with Aldi, and they did not. They wanted to proceed with what they had proposed.
Questions? Other questions? Jim, I can't tell. Do you have a question there, or?
Well, I think, I mean, first of all, I did watch the video of last 2 weeks ago's session. I guess the Aldi's looks like an Aldi's. Bojangles, I really like that. It's a sharp, well done. I've never seen one quite like that, and I like it well done. I guess I heard discussion on this. That tan part there in the front on that's one of these long skinny tiles is what's being proposed. Is that correct?
I would defer to the architect for that.
Okay. That's what you're proposing? That's not brick or anything? It's tile. Okay, it's the, 6 inches by 24 inches, whatever tiles. Okay. Yeah, I like that. The daycare is to me, it's kind of an odd one architecturally. It looks like a southern hip roof. But on the other hand, I think listening to what you stated 2 weeks ago, that's what's expected of a daycare. And honestly, you need to have society is a combination of all things go into it. Our architecture should reflect that in a lot of ways. Other than that, I don't have any problem.
Other questions? Having no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Max. Next up is public hearing in the Town of Waxhaw rezoning, Town of Waxhaw YMCA rezoning petition RZ 004736-2016. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Just to make a note, this park property is restricted by deed from the county for park use only. With that, Max?
This is a general rezoning request for the initial zoning of approximately 3.523 acres of a portion of parcel 06162-005T from Union County R40 single family to Waxhaw C3 general commercial. The property is located at 8199 Kensington Drive. The site was formerly a portion of the Union County Public Works wastewater treatment facility and is planned to be part of the proposed town park that will be adjacent to the proposed YMCA site. Additional land was needed for the park in order to accommodate sports fields. The property is located on Kensington Drive, situated between the Curitan Shopping Center to the east. the Union County Public Works wastewater treatment plant to the west, the Curitan residential subdivision to the north, and the Prescott commercial site to the south across 12 Mile Creek. The current future land use map calls for office/institutional. These areas include locations for new and existing office developments and institutional uses such as government facilities, schools, and semi-public uses such as churches and hospitals, and it comes from the 2030 comprehensive plan. The current draft of the updated future land use map identifies the area that the property is located in as community facilities. Community facilities which calls for special district community unit and allows for civic buildings and civic spaces, transect zones from the smart code. The subject property is zone Union County R40, single family residential. The R40 and R20 districts are primarily residential districts and are designed to accommodate single family residential and planned residential developments to low and medium densities, and that comes from the Union County zoning ordinance. The proposed zoning is Waxhaw C3 general commercial. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning based on the 2030 comprehensive plan, which calls for office and institutional. The current draft of the updated future land use growth sectors map included in the draft of the proposed comprehensive plan update, which calls for community facilities and the abutting CU C3 zoning district in the Curitan development. Staff feels that C3 district is compatible with the future land uses and planning goals of the town of Waxhaw. And as the mayor stated prior to my presentation, the deed from Union County states that it can only be used for park or related greenway uses. And I will take any questions at this time, or excuse me, I'll review the planning board recommendation. And the planning board at their Monday, July 18th, 2016 regular meeting voted unanimously 5-0 to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Commissioners on this case. I'll take any questions at this time.
So at this time, we have nobody signed up for to speak at the public hearing. Any questions for Mr. Oliver from the board? No questions. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
So next up, we move to old business. Action on the Brown Group rezoning petition CD 00433-2016. Max, you want to come back up? We've had 3 public hearings on the topic. I don't think you need to go back through the presentation, but if you just want to open it up.
As stated previously, conditional district rezoning position CD 0034333-2016 is a request by the Brown Group for a conditional rezoning map amendment from CUC3 to CDC3 on approximately 8.96 acres located at the northeast corner of Highway 16 and Sunset Hill intersection for a commercial development which is proposed to include a grocery store, a daycare, a general office, retail building, and a fast food restaurant.
Any further discussion?
I have a legal question. There was some discussion on brick colors at one of the prior meetings, and I never heard any other follow-up with the board, and I didn't know if any of the colors were incorporated with the plans. I think I may have seen some of the bricks here, and I didn't know if y'all wanted to incorporate any pallets and have that as a condition, but it's just something that I wanted this board to think of with the approval if you're so inclined, or we can go with the color substantially as set forth on the plans.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just a question, that include, whatever, they want to have a color near what's on the plans, then that would be acceptable. I mean, that's part, seeing as he's presented the documents now, that's part of the conditional use, that it will look essentially like this.
Correct. You could further, I guess, define the bricks by having representative bricks included in the record. Did they bring those? I thought
We had a digital copy
Okay.
of them, which, I mean, it's not the same as seeing it in person, but I unfortunately, I do not have that with me at this time.
we could incorporate the, I think there were 3 colors, and maybe the applicant can click.
5 colors.
There's
3 mains and 2.
And have those added, if you would like the 5 colors that they submitted, just so you'll know it'll be one of, substantially similar to those 5 brick types, and those were presented with the pallets at one of the prior public hearings.
Personally, it's not that important. I mean, there's no 2 bricks that are identical.
When I looked at the pallets, the brick samples that they had, and I know I talked to Manager Wood, I was thinking that the Bojangles would be a darker brick. But from the looks of it looks like it's much lighter than the other 3 buildings. Which is much different than the Curitan area.
We can have the applicant speak and see if they can clarify that with the color. And maybe that's a, there we go, I'll let you speak
Yeah,
for the.
the 5 bricks, we had sent them a electronic folder of the 5 bricks. Bojangles uses a dark and a light brick, which is incorporated in that palette of 5. And whether you want to hold to that is fine by me, to have as part of the conditions, those 5 be entered as part of the conditions, or the 5 are entered, and if staff needs to make a slight adjustment, because not all bricks are the same, and someone wants to offer up a similar brick, that's fine too, but we're willing to work with you. But we had worked on the Bojangles palette as the basis and created a palette of 5 bricks based on that.
Thank you. Other questions? Motions?
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd like to make a favorable recommendation that we approve the rezoning ordinance petition CD 004-333-2016. Is that right?
So a motion to approve the petition CD 00433-2016 with conditions,
I
the
personally
traffic
would
impact analysis.
Yeah, right.
The conditions should be set forth on the plan, but you can add any conditions, but you need to make sure the applicant consents to any other conditions. But there are a lot of conditions that are already set forth on the plans.
Okay.
But the applicant did say they would, or representative said they would consent to the 5 bricks if you're so inclined to add those.
I personally don't think that's necessary,
Okay.
as long as the colors are designated on the plans. I mean, a close enough representation to it.
And the traffic impact analysis is on the plan.
Yes, there
Correct,
are
okay.
several notes about the traffic impact analysis, and I can go back over those if you.
No, that's
like.
that's fine. I just
Okay.
want to make sure it was on the plan.
Unless Brenda wants to add, do you want to see the brick, specific numbers on there?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, then let's do that. Let's add that as a condition. That we'll use the 4 brick samples, or the
Okay? 5.
5.
So we have a motion to approve the petition CD 00433-2016 with the additional condition of the 5 brick palette as outlined in the submission. Any further discussion? If not, I'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Okay. Next up.
Reasonableness.
Yes. The second part of this is, Mr. Jim Warner, Commissioner Warner, you get to go through to
You got a
approve.
copy of that thing?
I'll take a motion to approve the conditional district rezoning request, that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Waxhaw, is reasonable and in the public interest, as it will allow for commercial development in a positive manner. The commercial and retail uses are consistent with the recommendations of the future land use map, and the Highway 16 corridor identifies the property as town center, and the draft comprehensive plan shows the property as intended growth sector.
I do.
So we have a motion on the
Honestly,
table.
I see it here now.
Yeah, okay.
It's on my, I just didn't see it at the bottom.
We have the motion on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Okay. Next up, new business, initiation of a voluntary annexation petition, 18-217 for Kensington 1 subdivision.
Okay, the purpose of this request is to initiate the annexation process for petition 18-217 by approving the resolution directing the town clerk to investigate the petition and the resolution scheduling the public hearing for August 23rd, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. in the Police Department Community Room. The presentation for this annexation will be given at the next board meeting during the public hearing on August 23rd, 2016.
Okay, so we have three motions to go through. First, I'll take a motion to approve the resolution directing the town clerk to investigate annexation petition 18-217 as outlined in your packet.
So moved.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next up, we'd like to verify with the town clerk, Melody Schuler, that the petition was investigated and is sufficient.
It was.
Okay, and so doing that, we can entertain a motion to approve the resolution scheduling the public hearing for August 23rd, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. in the Police Department Community Room, 3620 Providence Road South.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It will be scheduled. We have nothing for closed session. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This is a record. 7:17.